I remember the smell of that hospital room, sharp antiseptic mixed with fear. It was winter, the kind that made your lungs ache when you breathed. I was 7 months pregnant, pale, exhausted, and alone. My husband, Ryan, was working double shifts to keep us afloat. I didn't want to worry him, so when the dizziness started, I called my parents instead. I don't know why I still thought they'd care. Maybe because I wanted, just once, for them to act like parents. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. Mom! I whispered into the phone, my voice trembling. I think something's wrong. I can't keep food down. I feel faint. The doctor says I might need some extra care. She cut me off mid-sentence. And you're calling me because? Because I don't have the money for the extra tests, I said quietly. And you said your insurance covers family emergencies. She laughed, a real unbothered laugh. Oh, honey, that's for our emergencies. You made your bed with that mechanic, didn't you? Maybe he can fix you like he fixes cars. Mom, I told you marrying him was a mistake, she continued. Now you expect us to waste our good insurance on you? Don't be ridiculous. I went silent. My father's voice came on in the background. What's she whining about now? She's sick, Mom said casually. Pregnant and broke, wants us to save her. His tone was cold. Don't waste the good insurance on her. She chose her life. Those words hit harder than the illness itself. Don't waste the good insurance on her. I hung up before I could start crying, but the tears came anyway, hot, unstoppable, blurring everything around me. I was shaking when Ryan came home. Hey, he said, dropping his keys. What happened? I tried to lie, to brush it off, but my voice broke. I asked them for help. He didn't need to ask who them was. And? They said, I couldn't finish. He set his jaw, eyes darkening. You're not asking them again. Ever. He meant it like a promise, but it sounded like a wall. One I wasn't sure I was strong enough to stand behind. The next few days blurred into hospital visits, tests, and nights where the baby kicked weakly and I whispered prayers into the dark. The doctor said it was an infection that needed early treatment, but without the right medication, it could turn fatal. The cost was more than we had in savings. When I called Mom again, because desperation does that to you, she didn't even answer. Instead, she texted, Don't be dramatic. You always exaggerate. You'll be fine. I wasn't. One night I collapsed in the kitchen. Ryan found me unconscious, called an ambulance, and rode with me while gripping my hand so tightly it left bruises. When I woke up after the surgery, the doctor said I was lucky. The infection had spread faster than expected. A few more hours and we might have lost you or the baby, he said. That's when I made a quiet vow. I would never ask them for help again. Not money, not love, not approval. Months later, our daughter Clara was born, tiny, perfect, and completely worth every scar. Ryan and I built our life piece by piece. He worked nights, I freelanced during naps, and we made it work. But while I was healing, my parents' silence stayed louder than ever. Not a single visit, not a call, not even a gift when Clara turned 1. Mom posted online about her empty nest life, wine, luxury vacations, and how proud she was of her successful older son, Mark, who lived in the city and never got his hands dirty. Meanwhile, Ryan and I scraped by, smiling through everything. Then, on Clara's 3rd birthday, my phone lit up with a number I hadn't seen in years. Mom. I stared at it for a long time before answering. Emily, she said, her voice low and strained. We need to talk. I could hear Dad coughing in the background. Something was off. What is it? I asked, my tone flat. She hesitated, then said quietly, Your father's company. It's gone. The investments failed. The insurance won't cover his treatment. The hospital bills are... I almost laughed. Let me guess, I said. You want me to help? There was a pause. Then, with no shame in her tone, she said, You're doing fine now, aren't you? Ryan's business is successful. You owe us. We're your parents. You owe us. I hung up without a word. That night, I sat in bed with Ryan, the baby monitor humming softly beside us. They want money, I said. He didn't even look surprised. What are you going to do? I stared at the ceiling, the weight of 5 years pressing down on me. Nothing, I said. Not yet. Because sometimes mercy needs time and silence, especially when the people who denied you life start begging for theirs. The call came again the next morning. I didn't answer. But they didn't stop. 5 voicemails, 3 texts, and finally one message that simply said, "You'll regret ignoring your own parents." Regret. That word used to crush me. It used to make me feel guilty for things that weren't my fault, for being born, for needing help, for existing outside their perfect world. But not anymore. 5 years had passed since I almost died on that hospital bed. 5 years since my parents had chosen money over their daughter's life. In those 5 years, Ryan and I built everything from the ground up. He turned his small auto shop into a thriving repair business, and I opened a local design studio that employed 5 women, all single mothers who just needed someone to believe in them. We had a small house, laughter in every corner, and a daughter who ran through the halls shouting, "Mommy, look what I made!" That was everything I needed. But when my mother showed up at my studio one afternoon, I froze. She was thinner, her hair grayer, her confidence gone. "Emily," she said, stepping inside, "you've done well for yourself." I didn't offer a smile. "Why are you here?" She glanced around the room at the sketches and framed awards. "We're struggling. Your father can't afford his medication. The hospital wants payment up front." "So you came to the daughter who wasn't worth the good insurance?" I said, keeping my voice low. Her lips trembled, but her pride still fought to live. "You don't have to be cruel." "Cruel?" I stepped closer. "You let me rot in a hospital bed. You told me I wasn't worth saving. Now you show up because you're scared?" She swallowed, eyes darting to the floor. "He's dying." I paused, just long enough for the silence to hurt. "Then maybe he finally knows how it feels." She flinched. "You can't mean that." I didn't answer. Instead, I reached into my desk, pulled out a business card and handed it to her. "That's a charity that helps with medical costs. They don't turn people away." Her face hardened. "You'd let your father die before helping us?" I looked her dead in the eye. "You already let your daughter die once." That broke her. Her lips quivered, her eyes filled, but I could see, even in her tears, she still couldn't say sorry. She turned to leave and before walking out the door whispered, "You've changed." I smiled faintly. "No, you just finally met the version of me you created." That night, I sat by the window, watching the lights outside flicker on. Clara climbed into my lap with her favorite book. "Mommy," she said softly, "why were you sad today?" I brushed her hair back. "Because sometimes, sweetie, the people who should love us the most are the ones who hurt us the deepest." She nodded, far too wise for her age. "Then we just love better, right?" I kissed her forehead. "Exactly." Weeks later, I saw an obituary in the local paper. My father had passed. I didn't attend. Not out of hate, but because closure doesn't always need witnesses. A month after the funeral, a letter arrived in my mailbox, my mother's handwriting. I almost didn't open it, but curiosity won. Inside, a single line. "I hope one day you'll forgive us. We never thought you'd survive." I folded the letter, placed it in a drawer, and locked it away. Some memories don't need revisiting. That night, I looked at Ryan across the dinner table. "She wrote to me," I said. He reached for my hand. "You okay?" I nodded slowly. "I am now." Because forgiveness isn't about them. It's about letting the hurt stop echoing, and when they begged me for mercy, I realized something. Mercy doesn't mean helping the people who broke you. Sometimes it means walking away and finally living like they never did. Months passed and life carried on, softer, simpler, untouched by the chaos that used to define it. My mother's last letter stayed locked away, forgotten until one rainy evening when Clara found it in my drawer. She was 5 now, bright eyes, missing teeth, all sunlight and wonder. "What's this, Mommy?" she asked, holding the folded paper like it was treasure. "Something from before you were born," I said. "Something I don't need anymore." She looked at it, then at me. Should we throw it away? I smiled faintly. No, let's plant it. Outside, the garden smelled like rain and dirt. We buried the letter beneath a rosebush Ryan had planted years ago, the same one that had bloomed the day we opened our first shop, the same one I'd promised myself would grow stronger than my past. As the soil covered the paper, I whispered, "Goodbye." It wasn't a dramatic moment. No thunder, no tears. Just peace. Because I finally understood. Mercy isn't about answering someone's cries when they never answered yours. It's about not letting their cruelty live rent-free in your heart. I never called my mother again, and she never tried after that. But every now and then, I'd hear things. That she sold the house, that Mark had moved away, that she blamed the world for her loneliness. It didn't make me feel triumphant. Just free. One morning, while packing orders for the studio, an older woman came in. Her face was unfamiliar, but her tone felt achingly familiar, pride wrapped in regret. "You're Emily, right?" she said. "I knew your parents. They used to brag about you, said you built your own business from nothing." I paused mid-fold, stunned. "They said that?" She nodded. "Every time your name came up, your mom's eyes went soft. She said, 'She doesn't speak to us anymore, but I guess we deserve it.' Then she smiled and said, 'At least one of us turned out right.' I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Instead, I just said, 'Thank you,' and watched her walk away. That night, Ryan found me sitting in the backyard, staring at the rose bush. "You're thinking about them, aren't you?" I nodded. She finally admitted it, that they were wrong. He leaned against the railing. "And how do you feel?" I thought about it for a long moment. "Lighter," I said. "Like I don't have to carry their choices anymore." He smiled softly. "Then you won." I looked at the house. The warm lights, the laughter inside, the daughter who knew only love, and realized he was right. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need apologies. Their punishment was simple, watching the daughter they called unworthy build the kind of life they never could. And as the roses swayed in the wind, I whispered into the night, not out of bitterness but gratitude. "Thank you for teaching me exactly who I'll never become." That was the real mercy. Not forgiveness, not payback, just freedom. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from, "Where are you watching this video?"